Jacobus G. Swart is, in my opinion, one of the most exciting writers currently in occulture, and he has just released the third part of the book of Magical Psalms, which he started back in, I'm guessing, around 2020. He's been at it for a good amount of time, and understandably so. I can't actually find a date on this, but part 2 was in 2022, that's for sure, and part 3 was released about a month ago. I'm recording right now in December of 2024, and it's a cohesive whole. Folks, this is fantastic stuff. Okay. All right. So I know many of you are seeing volume 5 here and thinking to yourselves, oh my goodness, if volume 5 is already in 3 volumes, what's the rest like? Am I going to have to read all the rest? Every single one of the entries in Jacobus G. Swart's Shadow Tree series is standalone. You are absolutely able to pick up any of the books, including individual volumes of these multi-volume entries, right? And read them on their own strengths. You don't need to have read anything else. Jacobus is a master at ensuring that everything that he writes is clear, understandable within its own context, and you don't have to understand everything that's come before or after or anything like that. Every single bit of information is of course a part of a whole, and the more you glean, the more you gather, the more exciting it gets, of course, but everything is understandable on its own, which is fantastic, right? These 3 books cover all of the Psalms of David and their magical uses. So we start off, of course, with a fascinating introduction with on the topic of the magical use of Psalms throughout history, and we get introduced to this Sefer Shimush Tehillim, this 9th century Sefer, which gives some magical uses for all of the Psalms. And so, of course, these 3 huge tomes cover all of those Psalms, not just in the context of the Sefer Shimush Tehillim, but also in the context of everything else that has been written since on the topic of the magical use of Psalms. And of course, this is yet another entry in Jacobus Swart's series on practical Kabbalah. So for those of you who've been studying Kabbalah, thinking to yourself, but what's it useful for? Well, it's useful for quite a lot, of course, but one of the uses is for practical use, right, for actual magical purpose. And I love the way Jacobus has introduced us to the context within which these psalms are used magically. His understanding, he's clearly a practitioner himself of practical Kabbalah. It's clearly in his own tradition, and he gives us everything that we could possibly want in terms of using these psalms. He gives us the transcriptions, he gives us the translations, he gives us the original Hebrew, of course, and then he tells us the context of that psalm, the magical use of that psalm throughout history, how you can put it into practice, how you can actually, depending on the psalm, of course, you might want to make a talisman out of it. He gives you details from many different sources. Every single psalm has got just reams and reams of research. As you can see, this is just for one of the psalms, right? And then you turn the page and then you'll get the sources for the next psalm, right? Psalm 8, number 8, right? All of these sources to give you the details on the history and the use of this psalm for practical magical purposes. What I love also is that at the end of each of the books, not just at the end of the third book, but at the end of each of the books, you have an index of magical uses. Let me see if I can just find the exact. I'm just going back through the notes, right? The end notes. But yes, so here we are. We've just arrived here. Lots of different headings. If you want a psalm to help with dying, death, orphans, old age, and life extensions, you can find the specific header, right? You're looking for fear of death. Okay, go to Psalm 38. Okay, if you're interested in relationships, love, magic, family, and homes, have a look over here. You're looking for a cure for loneliness. Okay, go to Psalm 25 and then read the chapter on Psalm 25. Read the psalm itself, of course, and then read the magical uses, the way it's been set up and so on. But that's just volume 1. Then volume 2, he does the same thing, but then with all of the information from parts 1 and parts 2, right? So this particular one, just go back to part 1 and you'll find everything you need there. And of course, in part 3, he does the same thing with all 3 parts. So whatever it is you're looking for, let's say you're looking for a psalm to repent from being a criminal. Okay, so you head over to part 2. So this is very, very cool, of course, for everyone who's been reading these books as they've been coming out over the years. But of course, I guess this is going to be the index that is going to be get most use from now on, since it encompasses all 3 books. What can I tell you, folks? It's just the most comprehensive compilation of Hebrew magic regarding Psalms that I can imagine or hope for. In the opening introduction, on the opening page of the 3rd book over here, he says that he has really achieved what he was setting out to do, which is not to make something complete, but to make something here it is, not complete, but writing something comprehensive and definitive. So it's something useful, right? You don't necessarily want every single little bit of information that's ever been written, regardless of how accurate or useful or whatever it might be. What you want is something that works, and something that has all the useful information that you could possibly wish for. We're looking at thousands of pages, folks. So this 4th volume, we're looking at just around 550 pages, something like that. And we've got so maybe not thousands, but certainly over 1,000 pages in total. Over here, 419 for the part 2, and then part 3, 469. So yeah, you get an idea. There's a lot of magic for your buck over here, right? So yes, they are print on demand, which is why I've kind of given them my own plastic covers, because these are very, very precious books to me. They'll be staying on my shelf indefinitely. These have got a permanent place. They've had a permanent place for a long time before even being printed and published. I've had a segment on my shelves reserved for them. This is how important to me these books of magical psalms in fact are. If I just show you behind my Christmas tree up there, you can see that's where all my Jacobus Swart books are. Some very, very important books in my collection. And yeah, of course, I'll leave links down in the description so that you can go and check all of this out yourself. There we go, folks. Just a very brief overview of what this is. Would it be useful for me to give you an idea of the table of contents? So I've shown you this first page of contents from book 1, and then I'll just show you the rest over here. There might be some interesting topics, may be of interest to you. It'll also give you an idea of what to expect, right? So then there's the references and bibliographies from each of the Psalms going all the way down. I won't show you every single one of those. But then if I show you maybe from the third one, right? The table of contents for the third volume, the third part, should I say, right? Which encompasses books 4 and 5. All the way down to Psalm 150. Oh, that's something that I didn't mention, is that the numbering is the Hebrew numbering, right? That was changed in certain Christian Bibles, but no, the numbering and the organization of the Psalms are following the Hebrew traditional ordering and numbering, which I think makes good sense, right? If it's practical Kabbalah, that's exactly what we would hope for and want. So yes, and then help with the actual pronunciation, if you'd like to pronounce the transliterations for each of these Hebrew passages. There's a transliteration which you can actually vocalize, which is of course a useful thing in magic. And then there's a translation so that you can understand what you're saying, which is very cool. There we go. This is just so much bigger than I can comprehend. It's extraordinary stuff. So there we go. That's all I'm going to say for now. And I think that anything more than that, you're just going to have to dig in and enjoy it for yourself. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed the overview, not really a review, just giving you an idea of what's there, right? I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, like the video on the like button down there, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you very soon with another video. Take care of yourselves. See you. Bye-bye.